Welcome to the Elevate Your Ride podcast, where rider performance is taken to the next level through conversation and education. Our episodes range from rider health to horse training to the stories behind successful amateurs and more. I'm your host, Ellie, personal trainer for equestrians. Thanks for tuning in. Okay, welcome to the first Elevate Your Ride episode of 2026. I'm joined by my co-host, Lauren Cribelli. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and being here to elevate your ride and take your performance in the saddle to the next level. We are going to be changing a couple things moving forward with Elevate Your Ride. So I'm going to talk about all of those at the end. But in this episode, we're going to talk about 5 ways to stay on track with your 2026 goals. 2025 is over. It is in the past. It is time to look ahead, look to the future, look towards what we want to achieve in 2026. So you have likely already come up with some ideas and some goals that you want to work towards in 2026. And we're going to talk about some ways to help you stay on track because so many of us set out goals that are either too high or unattainable. And then we just feel bad about ourselves when we don't achieve them. So it can be a hard subject for some people to talk about goal setting and goal achieving because it's so common to set a goal and not achieve it. So we're going to talk about the ways to help keep you on track. So the first one is to just have a clear goal in mind. And that sounds really simple, but it's so true. You want to narrow down exactly what you want to achieve. The more specific you can be, the better. So instead of saying a simple phrase such as, I want to become a better rider in 2026, you could look deeper at your riding and say, okay, what area do I want to focus on specifically? Am I tired of hearing my trainer to always say, put your shoulders back? Am I tired of always having my horse fall in to the left? Am I tired of always being fearful of a certain obstacle because I don't feel confident in it, right? Like, what is it that you want to truly improve on in your riding and lay it out as clearly as you can?
Absolutely. I think that's a great start to be able to achieve your goals this year. So if we take a look back on what we talked about last year for at the beginning of setting what my goal was to become better at lead changes. That was a very clear goal. And then we were able to make steps and have a plan to achieve that because I can say confidently now that I feel like I could get on any horse and go change leads now. But one whole year ago, I could not say that. Even the horse that I had ridden and taught to change leads, I would still get anxiety and feel nervous about it. But now, because my goal was to be able to be competent and confident in lead changes, I did what it took to achieve that. But I would not have been able to take all those steps that I needed to if I didn't have that clear goal in mind.
Yeah. And again, it sounds so simple just having a clear goal, but how do you know what to do day in and day out unless it's really clear? Like the more specific you can be, the better. And that kind of leads right into our next tip, which is having clear steps to get you toward that goal. So, not only do you need to be crystal clear on what that goal actually needs to be, you need to have it outlined how you're actually going to achieve that goal. So, if you need to work on your fitness, let's say that my goal is to become more fit in my riding for 2026. I need to lay out, okay, I'm going to work out 3 days a week for 30 minutes. And I'm going to do these exercises this many times with this much weight. Don't just go to the gym and be like, well, today I feel like doing this, and tomorrow I feel like doing that. And then this day I'm going to do this, right? Like you need to have a clear outlined plan. And then not only for your workouts, if that's what your goal is, but let's say it's something riding wise. Let's say that you were like Lauren and really wanted to improve on changing your lead. Lauren, can you take us a little bit step by step of your steps that you did for that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we made the goal of being better at lead changes. And then I sat down and thought, okay, what would that person do on a regular basis that was good at lead changes? Well, number one, I would get guidance from a professional. So that was easy for me because I just went down the street and talked to my trainer and said, hey, I want to get better at lead changes. What do you see in me that you think we need to work on to get better? His answer was, we need just a lot of repetition and a lot of experience and also guided repetition, right? So I needed to be able to both experiment with lead changes by myself and experiment with lead changes with him there helping me and saying, try this, try that. Here's this exercise, here's that exercise. And also just affirming when things went right. So we made a goal that every single day I was going to change at least 10 leads. So every single day I got on, I rode, I changed at least 10 leads. And that was amazing because not only did I have the sheer volume, I was able to get excellent feedback as to when it was right and when it was wrong. And then I was able to also see that even when it was wrong, there were plenty of opportunities to fix it, both myself and my horse. And that sometimes, yeah, it was my fault, but sometimes it was also the horse's fault. And so that took maybe a little bit of the pressure off of myself of feeling like the responsibility of a successful change was 100% on my shoulders. So the steps that we were able to put into place were to train myself, train the horse, and just come together as a team and feel comfortable with just the rhythm and the routine. So I thought that that was great to be able to go and have a professional that I trusted help me make these steps to get to our goal. That would be like when I come to you and I say, "Hey, Ellie, I really want to do 10 pull ups." You're going to be able to tell me, okay, well, we're going to start not with a pull up, just maybe hanging on the bars, right? Like you're going to
Mhm.
be able to know as a professional where we can start to
Mhm.
get where you need to be. And I think that that is one of the like super cool things about having a goal is to allow somebody into this journey with you that has either been there or helped somebody get there. So that way it just gives you guidance on those steps.
Are you always hearing roll your shoulders back, push your heels down, add more leg, but you don't feel like you can? These cues will feel like a constant fight if your mind and body has not developed the proper connection, coordination, mobility, stability, and strength required. At Lope and Down the Rail Fitness, I create customized workout plans for riders so you can become a stronger athlete for your horse. If you're ready to ride more effectively, visit my website, lopeanddowntherailfitness.com, linked in the show notes of this episode, and start training with purpose to elevate your ride. Yes, and I could not agree more because it can feel kind of taunting to figure out, okay, what are the actual steps to get there, especially if it's a goal in a field that you don't have a lot of experience in or that you just feel like you don't know what you don't know. You can either hire somebody to help you or listen to podcasts, read books, find information on social media, right? Like you need to get guidance from somewhere. So if it's not within your budget to hire a coach or hire a trainer, see if you can find some free information that pertains to you. Now you're going to spend more time researching, right? Versus if you do have the budget and you can hire a coach, you're not going to have to spend as much time looking for that information because you're paying somebody to give it to you, right? But the point is that no matter what your budget is, there's a way for you to figure it out. It just depends on how much time and resources you're willing to put into it. And it can feel really overwhelming to try to learn more about a topic that you don't know much about. So I really do recommend maybe trying to find an in-depth book that you can read. And one thing to that I think is important with these step by steps is we should create these step by steps in pencil, not in pen. And what I
Yes.
mean by that is that these steps should be a general guideline and it's a general roadmap of where you're going, but they need to be dynamic. They need to be able to move. They need to be able to change. And if you block yourself into a box and you don't allow for creativity and growth and change, because lives change, either internal or external factors, your life is not going to look the same as it does a month from now, 2 months from now, 3 months from now, right? Things are always changing in our world, whether it's our personal lives, our work lives, our horses, everything is always changing. So those steps need to be able to be moved around a little bit, right? They need to be flexible. And that is a really, really important piece of the process. And then, which kind of leads into the next step, which is having grace for yourself if you get off track. So, this is the first week of the new year. Most people are pretty good about staying on track the first week. It's week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5 that people really start struggling with their goals because either they've set it too high, the goal is not clear, the steps are not correct. They're either too big or too small or too far left or too far right, right? And sometimes we get off track because life, right? Maybe you get sick. Maybe your horse gets injured and you can't go ride. Maybe you need to put in some extra hours at work. Maybe you have a close friend or close family member that passes away, right? Like there's always going to be something that gets you off track from your goal. Everybody struggles with that. And if you get off track, it's really, really easy, especially if you have the all or nothing perfectionist type A mindset to say, well, couldn't get my workout in today. So I'm not going to work out tomorrow because what's the point? And that mindset is a fixed mindset, not a growth mindset. And we need to be able to say, you know what? I didn't get my workout in today because I had to make dinner for my family. And I decided to make a really nice dinner because I haven't spent enough time with my kids and my husband lately. So I chose today to spend that time with my family instead of working out. And then it's okay to have those days where you miss a step, but you have to make sure that the next day you get right back on track. So something that I always tell my clients is you can miss one day, you can miss one workout, but you can't miss two. And if you're tempted to miss two, maybe do a lighter version of what you were supposed to do, right? Like, even if you can't do the full thing, do what you can. Focus on what you can do, not what you can't do.
Yes, I 100% agree with that because it's really easy to just think, oh, I can't do anything, so then I'm going to do nothing. But if you can keep that even just a little bit of momentum rolling where you
Mhm.
say, I am at least doing something, it is so much easier to get back on the horse when it's got a little bit of momentum of like, man, you know what? I didn't make it into the gym today, but I did go for a run or I
Mhm.
didn't make it into the gym today, but you know what? I did 10 squats while I was waiting for the laundry to dry, and I did 10 calf raises while I was brushing my teeth, right? Like,
Right.
you're like, I'm still participating and being active, but it's not the whole thing. But you didn't just completely give up and say, ugh, that's it, I'm done. And I think that that is huge just mentally for yourself, feeling like you can keep a promise with yourself and that that goal is still important even if it's not 100% achievable that day.
Yeah, totally agree. So I'll give you guys an example. I am on vacation right now, so I don't have my weights with me. I had been really, really consistent towards the end of December, beginning of December, not so much, but the end of December, I had gotten into a really, really good, strong weightlifting routine. I kind of changed around my routine. I'm starting to lift heavier weights again, starting to push myself a little bit more, been really, really consistent. And then last minute, decide to go on vacation, right? So it would be easy for me to say, well, I even though I started this new routine, there's no way for me to fully complete it while I'm down there, so I'm just gonna take the week off. And while I do think that there maybe is a time and a place for rest and for recovery, that's not where I'm at right now. It would have been a lazy choice for me to come on vacation and say that I'm not going to work out, not a restful choice. And there is a difference, and there is a time and a place for both. So I brought two resistance bands with me on vacation. I brought one of my booty bands and I brought one of my long bands. And granted, I did not use them on New Year's Eve. I went for a couple of walks, but I did not use my resistance bands. But yesterday on New Year's Day, I had a very, very busy work day. But you know what? When I sat down to watch a movie with my parents last night, I pulled out my resistance bands and I did a light workout while I was watching TV. And I could have chosen to sit on the couch and not do my workout, but that's not what I chose to do. I chose to modify and still be working towards my goals. I also chose to go on two different walks yesterday. Even though I was super busy, I made the time twice to go for 15, 20 minutes walks. I went for one in the middle of my day to kind of break my day up and get some creativity juices flowing. And then I did it after dinner because my mom made a delicious, heavy pasta fettuccine Alfredo dish, and it was delicious. But I was like, ooh, if I just go sit on the couch right now, I'm not going to move again the rest of the night. So I chose to go for a walk instead. And then I felt motivated to come inside and do some exercise. So that's what I did. So modify, but don't stop just because there's a reason to. If you have to decide, is my reason good or is it not good? And I decided that not having my full equipment this week was not a good enough reason to not continue getting my workouts in. So I modified.
I love that, and I'm proud of you for still doing it because gosh,
Thank
it's
you.
just yeah, and especially when you're in the middle of all that momentum that you had, right? Of
Yeah.
the progress that you were seeing, and it does
Yeah.
feel really good.
It does.
And I bet you feel a lot better knowing that, "Hey, you know what? I am still working towards my goals,
Hmm.
and I'm working on maybe slightly different things, but
Hmm.
I'm still gonna get there."
Are you loving our content and are wondering how you can support your hosts? Subscribe to our podcast on Spotify for access to all our episodes ad free. For $4.99 a month, you can help us bring you the quality content you need to elevate your ride. If you're interested in sponsoring an episode for your business, our packages start at $50 an episode and offer you a wide range of exposure to equestrians. Click the Sponsor Us link in the show notes to learn more. When I brought Michelle Correa on, the physical therapist for equestrians, a couple weeks ago, I can't remember if we talked about it during the episode or maybe before, but she talked about how she goes down to Florida for the winter to go. Oh, what's the jumping thing that they do in Florida this time of year? Trial. I think that's the California. It's like trials or so. I don't know. Sorry, Hunter Jumper people. I don't know what it's called, but she's in Florida for something, and she was kind of like me. Like she had built a really strong strength program for herself. She'd been really enjoying it, doing really well. But she was like, and like last year when I went down to Florida, I got a gym membership, but it just didn't work very well. It was too expensive. It was too far. I didn't have the time to go and do it. So she decided not to get the gym membership, but instead she decided to structure her training program to, for the month that she's down there, she was going to focus on body weight training, yoga, plyometrics, right? Like it's okay to structure and change your workout plan for like a month and then kind of come back to where you came from. Like it's okay if you're traveling to focus on other things like plyometric, like more cardio, like more body weight exercises. Like it's okay to do that sort of thing. And then you're set up for success to get right back on track and maybe even progress a little bit while you're gone. So that's another way that you can do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And that leads us to our next tip, which would be to measure your progress. And I think that that takes us again back to our first tip of having the clear goal. When you have a clear goal, you have measurable things to know whether or not your goal is on track. And so if we're talking about the fitness, that's a really, in my mind, easy thing to have measurable progress towards. You know how many pull-ups you can do. You know how much weight you can lift. And so then you can check and see if you're improving there. Like when it comes to the lead changes or something with our horses, I think that's a great opportunity for us to either enlist, like we said, the opinions of our trainers or friends or whoever we want to hold us accountable, or we can take videos of ourselves and then be able to compare it as long as we do that fairly to ourselves, compare our videos and say, okay, am I making progress on this? And measuring our progress is going to let us know if the steps that we have in place are the right ones.
Yeah. So again, measuring your progress can be one of those modalities that can feel kind of hard for some people to do. Like, let's say that you choose a goal and it's a little bit more, mm,
Ambiguous.
yeah, ambiguous or subjective, right? Where it's a little bit more opinion based than factual based. But I can guarantee you that if you plug it in and ask ChatGPT, they'd be more than happy to help come up with some ways to help you figure out how to track your progress, right? Like you just have to do a little bit of research, get a little bit creative, and be willing to track the progress. That's one thing that's really hard for people is tracking progress takes consistent effort. It doesn't take a lot of effort, but it takes consistent effort. And that's something that I find with a lot of my clients is that they struggle more with consistent effort than max effort. And so I actually met with a new client today, and that's something that we talked about. She has had in the past a really hard time sticking to a routine. But when she has stuck to a routine, she did like bodybuilding, working out like 5, 6 days a week. Like she either goes hard or goes home, right? And so I told her that we're going to try to find somewhere in the middle. We're going to create a routine for you that's 4 days a week, that's like 30 to 45 minutes, and it's going to feel underwhelming. It's going to feel way less intense than what you did before. But the point in the beginning is to create a routine that you fall in love with and then build from there. You can't just go all in or go home. You have to find somewhere in the middle.
Well, that reminds me of one of my favorite podcasts, Modern Wisdom. The main podcaster, Chris Williamson, was talking about how he used to actually be a nightclub promoter. And when,
Really?
yeah, and he always felt that the event was not a quote unquote success if he didn't work extremely hard at it. So the event could be objectively a success. He could make so much money. But if he didn't feel like he worked harder than he had on any other event, like if it came too easy, even though he might have made more money than he ever did, he felt like he failed because he didn't quote unquote work as hard. And I think that that is something that is really, really interesting in our psyche of feeling like we almost have to suffer in order for something to feel like it was worth it, even though, like you and I have talked about, we can make fitness gains without feeling like we can't sit down in the chair every single day,
Mhm.
right? Like,
Mhm.
I can still be getting stronger without feeling like I got hit by a train. And if I feel like I got hit by a train every single day, that is probably not the best way to do it, right?
No, no.
And, but I think sometimes in our head, we feel like we have to struggle so much and feel mental or physical, like, exhaustion to feel like something that you're doing is worth it.
Are you ready to take your riding to the next level? Better performance starts with a mindset shift. How you think, train, and show up each day. Positive affirmations like small steps toward big goals, progress over perfection, and consistency builds confidence serve as powerful reminders to stay focused and committed. Check out our Elevate Your Ride affirmation merch, linked in the show notes, and add intention to your everyday routine. Yeah. So if you're kind of struggling figuring out how to measure your progress, like I said, ask ChatGPT for help. You could maybe reach out to us on our Instagram page for help. If your goal is horse related, ask your trainer, okay, how can we measure this progress? Can you take videos?
I think it's just a big part of is being honest with yourself too as to where you are and not thinking that you're better or especially don't think that you're worse than you are, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so being able to look at these measurement progress and give yourself realistic guidelines and expectations. And that is going to make your journey and your 2026 goals so much more enjoyable.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So then our final tip, which is to write down your goal, write down the steps of how you're going to get to that goal and why you want to achieve that goal on a sticky note. And you're going to put it on your mirror. And I know that that sounds maybe a little cheesy, but I truly think that if it is in your visuals every morning and every night, so when you wake up and when you go to bed, it will be at the forefront of your mind. And the hard part is not letting that sticky note just become part of the background noise that's in your bathroom, right? Like it has to be something that you look at, you intentionally read, and that just reminds you every day that you are taking little steps toward that goal and to remind you to stay consistent. And I think that writing down the why is really an important piece of the process. It's really common for people to experience burnout and then forget why they're even doing it in the first place and then they quit. So if you can write down why you want to achieve that goal. So why you want to be a better writer, why you want to improve your fitness, why you want to improve your mindset, why you want to be better, why you want to be the best. Like, why are you doing this? Why are you putting in all this work? Because there will come a day where you're tired and you're sick and you're feeling achy and you don't want to do your workout. And you have to look at that sticky note and read it and ask yourself, is my why a better reason than whatever excuse that I have today? And if the answer is yes, my reason is better than whatever excuse I have today, then go do your workout. Go write down your affirmations. Go ride your horse, whatever it is. But if you decide that on that given day that it's too much and you do actually need to take care of yourself instead of your goal that day, that's okay too. Like there is a time for rest and there is a time for grace. You just have to be able to get back on track. And remembering your why will help you get back on track in those scenarios.
And having them written down and in that very accessible space of
Mhm.
your mirror every single day is going to help you, like we talked about earlier, of keeping that momentum rolling.
Mhm.
That can be that low grade fire that is constantly burning of like, "Hey, I'm still here. You working on me? Are you working on me?"
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
All right. So those were our 5 tips. I hope that you found those helpful. So next we're going to talk about a couple things that are changing for Elevate Your Ride this year and in the future. So in the past, we have always kind of branded ourselves as fitness and mindset coaches for equestrians, and that's kind of been the forefront and the focus of our platform and of our education. And we've brought on horse trainers, we've brought on other professionals in the horse industry, but we really want to try to branch into that more and lean into that a little bit more. So we're going to be rebranding a little bit and focusing more on rider performance overall instead of focusing in so hard on just fitness and mindset topics. So our plan is to bring on more high quality guests that can bring you more education, more conversation, more inspiration, more stories, more real life, real world experiences. So you can expect that to happen on about a monthly basis for the rest of the year. So I'm really excited about that. And then on top of that, we're going to be putting out just one more episode a month. So instead of doing an episode a week, we are going down to 2 episodes a month. And that's going to allow us to keep putting out higher quality content for you guys. And we are also not going to continue putting out subscriber only episodes. The subscribers will still receive access to ad free episodes. So if you want to keep supporting us and subscribing, that would be fantastic. That helps with the production of Elevate Your Ride. So if you continue doing that, thank you very, very much. It's really appreciated. So those are the main things that are going to be changing. There might be a couple other little things along the way, but that's what you can expect from us in 2026. Thank you for listening to the Elevate Your Ride podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, share it with a friend, follow us on social media, or leave a positive review. Please note the views, ideas, and education shared on this podcast are intended for general education, and you should always consult with your team before making any big changes.